the art of F.A. Checky. I bring this to you live from my office, and I am so very excited to tell you all about my creations and my art. No, I don't really talk about it. I don't talk like that at all. I was just trying to be funny and give you a little preview of this painting I've been working on, this seaside citadel, this port piece I've been doing, and I'm going to put the camera on it so you can get a better look. Ooh, I got the angle just right. So I'm going to leave it right there. Okay, so I've been working on some of these buildings in here, and I'm going to do a full-length video for YouTube. It'll be a full-length first episode that I've been trying to do, and I am not a camera person, not an actor by any means. I might be a character, but I'm not an actor. And this stuff is tough to do. I'll tell you right now. The painting too, yeah, that's. But doing this YouTube thing for a guy like me, I have very little experience with cameras and editing and all that stuff. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to also do my best painting this and showing you a few things. But I've been working on this building right here, and these are sort of mid-ground buildings, and there's going to be a couple episodes where I work on these two ships and some various buildings in here. But if you looked at my Facebook page, Art of F.A. Checky, and if you've been checking me out on Instagram, you can see some of these progress pictures on this particular piece. And this is just a really fun item here. In all the works I've been doing, probably about a 2 to 3 month project. I think this is a month or so. A lot of it was just laying down the sky, getting the lighting right, the perspective just right. This was a very awkward perspective, very challenging perspective, but it really is one of those pieces that's fun to break into little episodes. So I'm going to do Art of F.A. Checky, F.A. TV on YouTube, and I hope you enjoy. So before I begin actually painting anything, oh, look at that light, so cool. Some ambiance right there. Yeah, look right there. That's my desk lamp, and it's got on the video there, cool kind of reflection, but that's not normal. It's just I use a certain level of light at my desk, softer light, not necessarily a white light, but you'll see this glow here inside, and I like that because it just illuminates things on the painting for me in a way that I can see things, and I turn it off. I use natural light. I do everything when I'm looking at it. I look at my paintings a lot, step back, come back to it, make a ton of adjustments. I'll probably even pull back some of my other works that I've quote-unquote finished and do some touch-ups on those as well. But at any rate, what I want to do here is just kind of show you a few things, tell you a little bit about my art, and just if you go to my bio page on the Art of F.A. Checky on Facebook, you'll see what I'm all about. I'm not going to go into too much depth, but what I really love painting are things that kind of tell a little bit of a story. I like a little bit of a background, a backdrop behind the paintings. I like that more than any of the just, you know, I'll just on the whim paint something because I love it. But I like to, but I also like to do something like this, which is a whole city at the sea, a port city, and it has so much story to it. I'm wondering who lives in the houses, where those ships came from, where might this be, what happened in that castle, what year is it, all those things I really love. So we're going to segment after this, and we're going to start working on this piece. Thanks for watching the Art of F.A. Checky, F.A. TV, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm back, and I'm ready to paint, and you're actually going to see something other than me just talking. And if you were offended by my sorry Eastern European accent, I am part Hungarian. My father was a Hungarian refugee. He came to the United States in the early 70s. So please forgive me for that, but I thought it was kind of funny just because, I don't know, I watch all these art videos. I'm like, wow, why is it always some German guy or some Eastern European guy, but I'm American. I'm in the Dallas area in Texas. This has been home for 8 years or so. Lived in Colorado a long time, and this is my dungeon here, my art man cave, as I call it. You can see I have one of my works over there. I just put it there because I'm seeing if there's any other final touches for that one. That's one of the works I spent a lot of time on before this one that we're working on. And kind of get into the picture here with my light. You can kind of see my setup and my little camera there, desk light. This picture here shows you, or this frame here shows you the work that I'm going to be painting. Just kind of like my setup here. It's probably a little bit strange compared to some, but I have a desk set up where I can paint. This is where I do detail work. I need to be able to sit or stand where I'm doing it. If you're wondering what this weird thing is here, it's just a makeshift hand rest I use, but it works. And you know, I mean, I don't need to spend a lot of money. I realize that sometimes you just invent your own things as you need to go. Not that I invented that. Oops, I dropped a screwdriver. And have to pick it up or it'll bother me all day. Although this room isn't very clean, my daughter comes in here and she paints. You can see some of her stuff. She might even paint one of these episodes with me. She's very cute. Catley's her name, and I'll probably bring her in. We'll paint together as I do this, because I don't know how I'm going to do this show with my kids. My kids are in school right now. I'm off today, and I can paint and have some quiet. It's just me in the house and the dogs, but they're sleeping, being lazy. And they may come in here one day or another. But I just want to show you when I also paint, I use this little lamp. You may have seen that some of the pictures on my page. The Art of F.A. Checky, which you'll see here in the video. But at any rate, and I say that too much, that's probably my clutch word, at any rate, okay? But I keep these softer light lamps like that. It gives me the lighting I can use. Because one of the things about when you paint, if you put too much light on it, you get glare. Oil paints glare. Here, I just turned on my ceiling fan. It'd be way too much light. So I don't use that. I don't know how good the quality is going to be, but I'm going to do my best. And I don't want to go longer than a few minutes just to tell you a little bit about this first official episode of The Art of F.A. Checky, FATV on YouTube. I haven't done this yet just because I'm super busy. Life with, 3 kids is it is what it is, okay? But anyway, this is going to be somewhat instructional, somewhat just about me and my art. And I'm told if you do a video, people know more what you do and how you do it. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to explain a lot of this. I'm not an art teacher, and I'm certainly not the man. But, okay, it's Bob Ross. Which, everyone loves Bob Ross, and I love him too. And I don't want to necessarily paint like Bob Ross. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah. This is the little Bob Ross shrine over here. I can see it over there. There he is. You have unlimited power. Maybe we'll light the candle later. But anyway, he inspired me to begin painting. And you want to just be your own artist, and he was his own thing, and I want to be my own thing, and I just love the guy. I mean, how could you not love Bob Ross? I mean, some people might think he's like, some hippie pothead with an afro that paints, but he meant something to me because I grew up watching him. Many other people did the same, and he inspired me to start painting. Well, I'm going to give him credit, okay? So a special tribute to the man, again, Bob Ross. And a little bit more background on this piece is I kind of call it my Seaside Citadel piece. We're going to work in some of these buildings here on this side. Right there. No. Over there. There we go. But we're going to work on some stuff. Yeah, and I'm a weirdo, so you're going to have to put up with that for a little bit. And I've probably eaten up a good, 12 minutes of your time if you've gone this far. I need to come up with maybe 15 minutes of actual painting. Oh, okay. I won't be done 30 minutes like Bob Ross. That's amazing that he did those things in 30 minutes. I I don't do stuff like him any. Sometimes I do something like him because I just want to paint something. But this, I could never do in 30 minutes. It'll be segmented. This is episode 1, like I said before. And there'll be some subsequent episodes as we just go through little parts of this and work on it. And I'm going to segment from this little blip into some actual painting once I get the other camera set up. Okay. Well, now that we're getting started here, I'm going to make the little ritual here. This is going to be the shrine until I order a Holy Santo Bob Ross candle. But there we go. That means I can start into the painting. You might think I'm a weirdo. I really don't care. But here's just a little panorama of this painting. And I think where we're going to go today, I'd like to work maybe a little bit of the alleyway here. This is going to be a highly detailed building here. And it's going to have the most light exposure in terms of the little nooks and crannies and all that. I'm going to do that another time. I want to probably go in here. And then I'm going to do the ship another episode. But I think I want to go in here, just kind of touch on where these buildings are here, right in there with these. And just kind of finish this little bit more, I don't know if I call it faded, but it becomes obscured in some ways just because it's further back. I know you see that red building there just to remind me where the other building is. That one's kind of done, but I don't want a ton of detail on that one because we're looking through the ship and light's going to be eventually on the ship, and what happens is as you go further and further away, like the lighthouse, all the way back there, things start to look a lot less detailed. Okay, so just give you a panorama of what it looks like. Go further back, further back. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about colors as I go. You can just see, I just have a messy palette. That's just a piece of cardboard on top of a palette. I really need to clean, but for these things, you just need somewhere to mix paint. And it's not critical, but I'll talk to you a little bit about my brushes. I got a whole bunch of little detail brushes in here. And finally, and without further ado, get to some painting. Okay, so like we said, we're right around there. I think the camera's angled a little weird. Let me fix it. Like I said, I know what I'm doing here on terms of videoing and this and that. That's a good angle, I think. You can kind of see where I'm in there. So, choice of brushes. Got a lot of little brushes here, okay? Just little rounds, little filbert kind of brushes. That's what they're called, 10.0s on these. It says 10/0, but they're very small. Got some brushes like that. Some brushes like these, some for just blending. So we go from various brushes to bigger ones for bigger things. And even one, see that? Oh, you see that? I got that down to almost like a hair for really, really detailed. You probably can't see it, but there you go, kind of right there. Really, really detailed, very not detailed, everything in between. You just want a bunch of, I like having a ton of different sizes. I keep a little bit of, whoops, just, the stuff to wash the brushes off. Just, inside there is actually just some acetone, just some odorless mineral spirits or whatever. Paper towels to wipe off brushes, plenty of cloths. Got to get yourself in your painting groove, which I can paint whenever almost, plus I'm really not feeling well. But I like to have my setup ready. We're also not comfortable or not feeling what I like to feel when I'm doing this. But anyway, got a lot of different things going on the palette. I'll tell you what colors I have here real quick. I got some cadmium yellow hue. I got some cadmium yellow light. I'm not using a whole bunch of that. So I got little oranges, and it's really light. When I say cadmium yellow, it goes from yellowy looking yellow, like a banana yellow, lemon yellow. There's so many colors. I don't know, it just depends what you like. I'm in no way affiliated with any of these brands. Not affiliated with Bob Ross, I should mention that. Phthalo Blue, Raw Sienna, a little bit of that. Got some of that here. Put a little dab. I don't put a bunch on it. Why waste your paint? This stuff's expensive. Little lamp black, which is real dark, just beyond what the midnight black looks like. Titanium white. I like Naples yellow a little bit. Got some browns in here. Maple yellow, I think, is... I really love that for kind of like light effect. I love how it does light effects. Got what's some permanent green, sap green. We're out of the acrylic. We're all in oils at this point. All that black and gray. You see a little bit of in there. Okay. Van Dyke brown. So I need to decide on these buildings. So, you know, I've been thinking about it. And I'm like, well, I think what we need to keep in mind is this scene, the background. I'm just gonna start in on these buildings right here, and thinking like the one next to it. And I'm like, well, these buildings may have been all kind of built around the same time. These older European cities, these port cities, Cornish ports or Dutch ports or whatever. You know, they're built at different times, and some of them have been built upon for a very long time, and they just kind of added on and fixed stuff. So I'm going to define, talking about fixing something they probably had to fix many times over, is these roofs. And I'm just going in here with some Prussian blue. Dark is dark, and we'll work in just some color. Okay, and these real steepled these roofs. Okay, is it going to be purple? Is it going to be blue? One next is kind of greenish looking. I'll come back to that a little bit more. But these roofs were just incredibly old, and you can start to put in little details as it dries. But right now, this is just kind of mid-set. It's a few days old. This stuff up here is mostly dry. A lot of that's still, I left some acrylic on there to keep it faded. I liked how it looked. I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff is like, don't worry about everything what it is. Do you like how it looked? Now, preservation, whatever. We're not talking about things that are gonna, if you keep them inside and good temperatures and everything. You want your works to be seen a long time from now? Great. Not too concerned about how the acrylics and the oils over time may do what they do. I think nowadays paints are made with such great efficiencies and so on that in science has improved them. Don't really have to worry about it. So we went from a red roof. These two buildings, I think, next to it need to be somewhat in sync with each other, of a more kind of like, I want to do a little bit more of a bluish tone. You have to be real careful in this line right here. When I say careful, there's some things going on behind it. We could totally lose the illusion of depth, which in the end, there's a big, I guess I call it a magic effect, or the illusion the artist is creating is this idea of a 2D surface, which this is two-dimensional. It's flat. I'm not painting on anything three-dimensional, which is a totally other ball of wax, probably. Like literally could be. And so if I am telling you with my illusion, this is here, this is there, this is the middle part of the painting, right? If you cut it into fours, and my rule of thumb is, like in photography, I guess some photographers, or like a long time ago I learned this, was you want to divide the canvas in four, 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, And I like something interesting on each 4 quadrants. There's going to be something interesting here, 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 and here. Okay. But if I went so detailed behind this, it won't look right. Your eye's going to say, oh, it looks like it's coming to me at one time. Light's traveling from each part of this painting based on reflection, refraction, dim light, bright light, reflective light, dancing light, because it's just moving, because something's moving. Is anything moving here yet? Well, no. The ship, maybe I'll do it. The ship's leaving. It doesn't look like it's leaving. The sails are not up. I mean, the sails are not down. The sails are up. Sails are up. So again, we'll do the ship another time. There's going to be a lot of focus on that ship, because think of each building as a character in the story, right? I'm going to just touch on this little piece right here and shadow it. This is just some shadowing. I noticed it needed just a hair of shadowing here. So this is going to create more depth too as you put in your shadows. All right, and you can see how the painting comes together as you're working. It kind of evolves. But for example, this little tiny window here, it's going to have some more shadowing on it because it's 3D. If there's a little window pane there or a shutter right there, it has to have a little bit of shadow because the light is hitting left and it's dimming right, and then it's off the light path, which would be presumably right from behind the lighthouse, okay? Or perhaps the light is all the way towards the bottom setting. I like to think this is like right before nighttime, right? Everyone's got their candles lit. And like I said, each building's a character. What's going on in that building? Well, they got their candles lit because they don't want to do it when it's dark. Can't find your Kindles or whatever. You have to, but maybe they had matches in this day. I don't know. What are you going to light it with when it's all dark? You'd be like, dang man, the moonlight's not good enough. Okay, so I'm just kind of defining these buildings just a little bit more. And I like to say that these roofs got a little patchiness to it, you know, just a little, well, we got to just throw on the carpet on that part. I don't know. They had to find what they had to fix little things on there. So I'm going to, but it's also nice to give it a little character or flavor. I guess maybe that's the wrong word, but hopefully catch my drift. I have no idea how many people can watch this. So I'm just going to say whatever. Probably get like 3 views and be like, yeah. Welcome to F.A. Checky Art, F.A. Checky and F.A. TV with my 3 views. I just want people to see this because I've been asked to do this, and I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm just, especially something like this. I don't think it should look perfect. I don't think that the construction on these buildings over all this time is going to look like something today. I want it to have that rustic, you know, maybe 19th century or something. Like there's buildings from long ago and there's buildings from 19th century, you know, just like in Europe. They don't tear everything down. They appreciate that stuff, history, you know. I love history, though. One of my subjects I probably will blab about a lot is history. We're still running at 11 minutes. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to cut this down. But it's good. It's the first episode. We'll go longer for the first. The subsequent episodes won't be as long because I won't be, you know, diarrhea of the mouth talking about stuff just what I'm about. But I want to point out in these buildings, too, think about the tone with which you want to paint these things. They're catching a lot of light, but I certainly suppose we can start. I just like to start with some base color. It's already got some on there. Perhaps this middle building, because we got these like bluish roofs, you can see them coming in. And how I'm gonna distinguish this one back here, I want to show you something at least right now. Maybe it's not much of a trick. Some people will be like, I know that. I did that. That's okay. I'm not painting for people that necessarily know what they're doing, but that's cool if somebody who knows what they're doing is watching this. I'll be like, okay, look, see? this little touch of light, because right over here, the light, boom, don't hit the canvas too much. If you hit that canvas too much, what's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen is, if I put too much color on something, I'm not allowing what happens naturally to happen on the canvas, which is you don't see necessarily all the intensity of the light. There's many different things that affect light. Okay, so I've been using that really fine detailed brush. I think for these buildings here, I need something a little bit more like this, but maybe not so big. So I have one that I kind of honed down a little bit. It's a lot smaller. Okay. Oh, one thing I always got when I got my coffee. I'm not sure how much longer I can film for, so we might have to take a little segment there, or break. But I'm gonna start just going in some white color. And I kind of feel like this building here, for whatever reason, has got slightly, I'm using this really nice paint here that I'm mixing with whites, and I use it for some of the roof colors, Venetian red. They come up with all these. Hopefully that's not a copywritten name. Who knows? For all I know, but I'm not gonna say one thing or another about that. You know, YouTube. I think it's okay for me to tell you the colors. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you which brands I use. I might have to blur out anything because I don't have rights. But anyway, I think there's a little pink tone to that. So, like when you watch Bob Ross, that looks so nice. That's it. That right there. Okay, so they're just touching it. I don't want too much paint accumulation on the brush, and the reason why is I want it to build over each layer as I'm going. And I really like how this is catching some of the skylight colors, because I notice this and I watch light all the time. I really, to be an artist, I think you need to start watching the world around you. And I love watching light and what it does. Okay, got a little bit of a purplish color I mixed with, this would be phthalo blue, some white, a little bit of, actually I love magenta. Phthalo blue, magenta, and some white to get a little bit of purple on here. So where it's a little bit more shadowed in here, I have this lavender-ish color, because guess what? Like I said, left to right is my light. See, that rhymes, see? Maybe I'll just rhyme a little bit. It's like Bob Ross is like, he's his own person. I'm just a wacko sometimes, I guess. I am my own person. Like me or hate me. It'd be funny if people did watch this, because I'd get some weird, I want to see all the weird comments too. Be like, that guy's a freaking moron. That guy doesn't know how to paint. Or I want to get some comments that say, you know, just, you know, full out cussing me out type of stuff. I'll be like, that's hilarious. Maybe I'll get some nice comments. Maybe people will be like, dude, where'd you learn to paint? If you want to know where I learned to paint, I learned to paint my house. And I took a few art classes because I had to in school. Watched videos, and I study paintings. I do also use a lot of studies in learning to paint, which I look at other paintings. I used to practice law for a while. Right now I'm not, thank God. And so when I was, you know, doing legal work, I'd say, oh, how do you learn to legal write? Well, you had a class, legal writing, taught you some stuff. But I had to read other lawyers' stuff to learn how to really write well, because I had to look at it and say, well, I'll adapt my own style. But what they're looking at one legal brief after another, after another, after another, start to realize, hey, there's an art and a science to this. Well, painting's a little bit of an art and a science too. Science is like how things mix on a canvas. Mediums that we use, understanding physics. There's some basic physics that we need to understand. Remember I was talking about refraction of light? That's some Sir Isaac Newton, almost a bad word, stuff right there. There might be kids. Hey, you know, like I said, there might be kids watching this. I'll have to be, you can go to my Facebook page, and there's probably stuff kids shouldn't be looking at. I'll just tell you that. I want to keep this nice and wholesome because we're down here in wholesome Plano, Texas. No, there's wholesomeness everywhere. Get some mom on my video posting and be like, you said that, and you will never be watched in this household again. Amen. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a wacko. So what I'm doing is just putting the white on there. I want to get a little bit more light right there in the middle and right here on the sides, and get a little bit more of this pink tone going, which, like I said, you mix a little Venetian red and some white, and love how it can make a nice pink. But I want a little bit of that pink in here, okay? Ooh, so nice. That just feels like magic coming out of my paintbrush. And it's my world, so I can do whatever the hell I want. He was right about that, though. On a serious note. I'm here just painting, loving life. Some of you might be like going through a tough time or whatever, and you wonder, well, what can I do to feel better? Well, you can see I wrote the blog about this on my website, FACheckYourOriginalArt.com. That's also on my Facebook page. But, you know, I used to have really bad depression, even with medicine. It kicks up every once in a while. It's just chemical. Sorry, kids. Yeah, I got to talk about serious stuff. Adults too. You know, sorry. Some adults out there be like, "What the f*** are you talking about?" Did I say a bad word? Well, I got to bleep that out. Why is he talking about that? Well, it's also a connection to art. And art's also about the artist too. And the artist is in the art, and it's not separated from the art. Some art is very ordinary, but it's still the artist, right? Try a little bit of orange and see what it does right here. It might mix in with the white a little bit nicely. I can always tone that down. See, I might put that down there. I say, no, it doesn't work well with the sky. But I got this yellowish here. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of that Naples yellow. I got this Naples yellow and a little bit of cadmium yellow. I'm just gonna mix it together there to give some brightness here. Okay, look at that. Boom, a little bit of bright. Let's get that going here. But going back to my whole depression thing, you can tell I'm just stream of consciousness. I start painting again. I was just working corporate type job. Still do. I'm not gonna tell you where I work, but working corporate type jobs. And just life, you know what I mean? It just, ugh. If anything gonna stymie creativity is working in a corporation. The reason why they don't have creative people working in corporations is because of the way they run. Unless they run them right, you lose creativity with treating people like robots. Treat them like a robot, you're gonna stifle your creativity. But art, I just got to do what I wanted, you know? And it felt awesome. And you know, dude, if you just try it, it might not look like great at first. Nothing I did at first looked great. I got to make some windowsills on here. I think this is going to have somewhat of a rounded. I think this top one is going to be, I'm going to make a round arced. Very dark on there. But we'll don't worry about that right now, okay? I'm just getting some shape in here. Just making these buildings. And if I dropped the F-bomb earlier, which I think I did, I'm so sorry. I'm still thinking about that. Sorry, kids, bad influence. You know what? They put Socrates to death because he was a bad influence to kids. I'm no Socrates, though. But somebody might be, he's a bad influence. Do not watch FATV. I'm trying not to be. If I drop the F-bomb, I'm going to try to bleep it, but I didn't mean to do that. And that's why this show is so hard to do, because I swear a lot when I paint. But hey, it's, you know, it's a different era right now, you know? Gotta like let loose a little bit. We're kind of like back in like the 60s and 70s, man. Gotta have some edge. All right, so I'm just kind of giving these a little bit arc roof. We don't want to, again, not too much detail. So just creating some windowsills. And I think on this one here, they have like maybe like little flower beds that they put underneath the windows. You ever see that in those European villages? Oh, I love that. They grow their little flowers there. We'll put those in. We'll just put a little indication of that. So I'm just thinking like each one of these buildings is a character. I'm, you know, trying to build that mystique about this whole scene. But I don't want to do two things right now. First of all, I don't want to mess up, but sometimes I do. And if I do, I can fix it. But what I don't want to do is, I'm going to make a little bit of a gray color, overdo these buildings with detail. And some people are wondering like, well, what do you want to learn? What you're going to learn from this episode, I'm looking at my time here, is how you don't make things look too detailed in these mid-ground, even though there's some kids, adults, children's. I don't know why I just excited with a little purple, but I did. Even though there's going to be some detail, okay, don't overdo it. This building has to be a little bit like the one near it in some respects, right? Or it won't make sense. The continuity will be gone. So I'm going to kind of build the same, similar but a little different on this one here, okay? And I might have to make some adjustments here because you can see I have to, where my window is, I have to probably bring that down a little bit with some lighter paint later. Window shouldn't be too close to these panes that are dropping, but this one here next door got a little bit going on there. I might have to get a real fine brush to do the top, so I'm not worried about that. But actually kind of like getting it in with the purple and brown mix is kind of good. Why did I pick purple and brown? I have no idea. Just sounded right in my head, and it would not give me too much detail yet on, but I know where it is. I painted it on there. All right. These buildings kind of looked like this back then, and they still look like that now. If you go to Europe, I saw buildings like this at, I think even in Austria. It must have been, I guess, some style they did for a long time. I'll have to research a little bit more. I think on the building next to it, got all this little like white space underneath, where I'm thinking, all right, let's just get a little crazy. Jesus. All right, let's get, I'm thinking we have a big old arc, like, let me think here. How these, you see, like sometimes I gotta think, because what's gonna come off of this thing is gonna be like, I got it. And we'll shadow it and do what we can with it. All right, in this building here, I got some type of sign hanging here. Because, hey fishermen, or hey sailors, guess what we sell here? Or maybe this signifies a you know, a flag or something. It's covering up the building next to it just a tad. We'll have to work on that. It's definitely creating a weird shadow here, but you have to kind of work around these things and build them in. Meaning, what's the logic of it there? That's way too much white. See how I just did that? Boom. I just created some white that's way too boom. But I want a little bit of light coming in here, separating that plane, and you're separating panes, but I gotta remember I got a little shadow coming in, very normal. Something's casting a shadow here from this sign, right? Okay, we want that. And so I'm kind of thinking through this little sign here, and I gotta outline it just a bit, okay? Not too much. But it tells us that there's a thing going on here of some kind, maybe a big flag sign, I don't know. Might be wood, but I just want it there, okay? And down here, there's, I guess, maybe an entryway that's somewhat blurred. So I'm just building these things. Characters are being built here, in a sense, you know, just kind of, you know, illuminating the piece in some ways. And I'll be building on these some more. I don't want too much red on there. I want a little red and brown. Take a little red and brown and that raw sienna, just kind of mix it in. Maybe it is wood, I don't know. I'll just kind of paint it. So I'm just putting something in there that maybe I'll go in with a fine brush later. It just depends how I feel. You want to go back over these things and kind of detail how the wood slats on the outside, how they kind of manifest themselves on the building. Well, they're built in the, they manifest themselves because of me. But if this were a real place, it'd be manifested there because somebody built it. Okay, so they're not done. Yeah, when I say that, they're truly not done. And, you know, you could do different effects in here too. They're kind of cool. I'll come back to those. I'll touch on those. But you can kind of see where I got this, the very basic things that I want in that part there. Okay. And little pointers here. Like your rooftops, how much color you can have on your roof. Okay, I got this. Remember I mentioned the green. Okay, this permanent green light. I'm going to put a tiny bit on here again and just kind of hit where I think the light is catching that mildewy stuff on the top. Maybe it had like very different layers of thatch or whatever. I kind of want to make sure this plane is very distinct. I got some sap green going on here too, a little bit darker here. This paint's starting to get really thick on my canvas because it's drying, but I want to also define this line here, and that brings us so much further up. Curved roof. I noticed a lot of these buildings have these cool, really cool. I love those, how they look. Just different architecture. I'm really into architecture too. I'll show you another painting I did another time, where it's Harper's Ferry down in West Virginia. On the way back from Pennsylvania with my son when he got his first car, and I did a painting where we went. I'll show another time. So that's the basic stuff right there. I mean, if you really want to get into some stuff here, it's cool. That you can always do later on necessarily. Maybe I'll show you how to do now. Sometimes it's cool to do a little bit of smokestack stuff. Start off first really dark gray, okay? And just take a little light brush, okay? Like this one here. And I want to be aware there's a fire. That's just character you add to the piece, you see? And it's this character stuff that makes it come to life, you know? It's like people are actually living here. Each one of those buildings here. I'm gonna, oh no, the church! Over in the church. Oh, there's just a little smoke coming out of this one. They all got fires running though. You know, these people aren't gonna freeze it. I think this is like February too. I think it's just like, you know, it hasn't snowed here, but it's cold. Get a little bit of this lavendery color on the brush. Now I want to wipe a little bit on your cloth so you don't have too much, and then I'll just very, very, oops, use your paper towel. I do have some color on there, not a whole lot. If you put too much, it's not good. It'll just smear. I'm gonna give it a little bit of like some highlights from the sun, okay? And they'll make sense because these buildings would have a little bit of smoke, perhaps. I'll put in some chimneys, you know, other buildings, but this one definitely has, you can see these chimneys. Just kind of lightly tap and twist and go different angles. Now there should be a little bit more that may be seen here because we have a darker building, so I'm going to lighten it up just a tad. Okay, but in order to make it stand out, gotta go in a little bit of that darker, maybe perhaps behind it. And just darken it a little bit. And then maybe lighten, go in a little bit more white. Tiniest bit of white for the very top. Yeah, this is gonna be a long, like I said, this is gonna be a longer first episode, but it's okay. I'm using my thumbnail here, just kind of getting off some of this white, because I really want the smoke to be evident coming from there. And a little chimney fire down there. But if I don't give it enough light, you're just gonna see it kind of mix in with what's back there, and light would catch higher up here. Okay, but it's just very subtle. You can shadow it a little bit more, but behind, like I said, if you want to keep it within your shadowing, it's gonna be some blackness to the smoke too, but a little bit catches. Just go in with a little bit more black, not a ton. You don't have to use a ton of it. Very subtly, and then you can make it real dark down here. Again, the dark smoke makes sense coming out of these things. Coal, that's what they burned a ton of. We still do, unfortunately. It's really, you're gonna hate me for saying it, really bad for the air, okay? Well, we've been burning this stuff for centuries now. And yeah, it's terrible for the air. Why do you think this city looks like this? It's kind of dark because it's all over the freaking buildings. Now that I accidentally hit the mast right there. That's okay. You just wipe it off the mast. You don't want it to go onto the mast. But you see the smoke coming from the building. You feel this aliveness, you know? You want the smoke to kind of permeate up into the skyline a little bit. See that? When I just go into the air, it's like, well, it's gonna go into the air some. It's a big old fireplace. Of course it is. Well, we're just about here at the end. You guys probably think I'm crazy, but that's okay, because I am a little bit. But I really love to paint. I love showing. I wouldn't go on Facebook. I won't go on Twitter necessarily or other social media unless I wanted to show my art. And I don't just paint stuff to stuff it in a, you know, a closet. I have a lot of paintings. I actually do that. But I from some of the things I painted. But it's been, you know, it's going to be almost 2 years this April of getting back into this. If you read my blog on my website, I haven't painted since I was like 14, 15. Got back into it and just really love doing it. It gives me so much joy other than my family and my friends. But I think you're going to have fun either watching it or trying something I've done. I use just one last tip. Sometimes your finger is a good tool too. It just blurs something a bit because you don't want too much of something. And as long as the canvas allows you to do touch where it is, you get to learn the finger techniques a little bit more at these detailed things. You can totally blast something that you don't want to mess with and ruin it. You do have to be careful. You might have a detail on there that's completely ruined. But, you know, it's okay on certain parts just to touch it with your, you know, just I need that little blurred. And I did. Blurred a little bit there, blurred a little bit here. So I'm just going to stick my head in here. I hope you like this. I'm going to do more of this. This is going to keep going for a while. And welcome again to FATV, The Art of F.A. Checky. You can check me out on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, and you'll see those pop up here at the end. Take care, everybody. Can't wait to do this again. And I'm not going to necessarily tell you something cliche here at the end. I'm just going to make up something. Paint because it's fun, okay? Just paint because you love doing it. And remember that your creativity and your art will help you in your life to become not just a better person, but a happier person. See you later.